top of what we call the mountaintop or mountaintop experience from a paradigm that I am. Like some of us get sometimes that they say, well, I've arrived. I'm at the pinnacle. And he had to come down to the lowest point to where he was actually serving. Okay. Now in this process that he was doing, Jesus constantly helped those that were afflicted, those that were sick, the least of those that were believed in by man, he actually took up with them. Okay, those that were the ones that was the undesirable, kind of like us. We're undesirable at times. We don't like ourselves. Sometimes others don't like us, and sometimes we don't like ourselves either. So we find ourselves sometimes in that undesirable situation. But Jesus shows us in various points throughout the text how he humbled himself to be able to help others. Now, that's where we have a problem sometimes. Because we won't take a back seat, or we won't take second, or we won't be last because we've got the first mentality. I want to be first. I got to be first. I'm going to be first at all costs. And when I get there, I'm going to be first. You see what I'm saying? I'm going to be the number one. And ain't going to be selling for number two. And we oftentimes train our children like that. I mean, we raise them. We want them to be the best running back, the best fullback, the best at track. We don't want them to lose at nothing. We got to train more. We got to do more. But the Bible speaks of the last being the first. So in that paradigm, Jesus takes and says the first is not necessarily the best, or is not always the winner. The last shall be first. Now I know that's hard to understand. The last will be first. But in the illustration where Jesus was dying on the cross, and in the last few minutes, there was a man that was standing on the cross next to him. And in his very last minute, Jesus said, on this day, you'll be in glory with me. Now he was he could be counted as one of the last. Okay? But we've got to be to the point that we actually take ourselves out of the equation to be able to help those that are hurting around us. Now how do you help that? How do you handle that? How do you do? You want to say something? How do you do that? In a church magnitude or a church setting that we have so big, and I realize that there are those that have united with Antioch for some years now, and those that have united with Antioch are those that were strong-minded, strong-willed, strong-taught, strong leaders from various churches, different upbringings, different traits, different religious beliefs, and they have a little differences in what we sometimes do here. So sometimes it's hard for us to let go of the little tweaks that we did something differently at other churches. But we've got to be able to let loose of some of those things to be able to develop the true things in humility and serving, because that's what it's all about, in serving others. And to the point that we deny ourselves or what we've been taught from previous years. Just like on certain Sundays, you're supposed to wear white. You're supposed to wear a certain color in the winter, a certain color in the summer, lightweight or heavyweight. If you got somebody that comes into church that's not necessarily dressed properly, okay, then we used to shun that person or make fun of that person. And the thing of it is, Jesus said, come as you are. After a while, they'll pick up their pantses. You know what I'm saying? The dresses will get longer. But that's in their walk with Christ. You see, so we've got to meet them, and sometimes we forget about that. But we once was in a hog pen, maybe not the same hog pen, but we all had a hog pen experience. We had to be turned around or looked up out of a hole at one point at a situation. We was either at our lowest in something we couldn't get out of, that we couldn't turn to nobody else but Jesus. Okay? So and sometimes we forget about that. We think we've been walking with Jesus forever. But we got to remember whence we came. And sometimes if we keep that fervently in our minds from whence we came, it's not hard to be able to serve others. And we've got to meet them. We've got to meet them where they're at. You know what I'm saying? People are funny, and especially a young Christian. If you approach them the wrong way, if they perceive you, and that's what it is a lot, is the perception. It's the way they perceive you. If you're shunning them or giving them a cold aspect, then they'll write that off as a church member. And I'm going to tell you, we already got opposition on the outside. There are folks that look at the church and say, well, if they doing that in the church, might as well stay out here. Got no problem with that. You see what I'm saying? And then we have sometimes opposition inside the church. So we got to remember, we're fighting a war on multiple fronts. Okay? And we've got to get that point where we're at a servitude with humility. Not always looking to be the one in the limelight or in the show, to be the one that may be behind the scenes. See what I'm saying? The one that's serving. Jesus did it several times. He washed feet. Paul asked the Lord, well, Lord, why wash my feet? I'm here to wash your feet. No, Paul, this is what we're going to do. And I'm going to wash, well, Lord, if you wash my feet, wash my whole body. See what I'm saying? So he had some things he had to do before he left this world to go back to glory. Okay?
Amen. I'm going to let it go. All right. The part I looked at, it said Jesus meant what he said, the last to be first. True joy means giving up our rights and purposes and serving everyone else.
Yeah.
And that's what church membership means as well. I am a church member, and I took, and I know this is a marriage class, so you know I had to kind of bring it into this marriage people. And it says, I would not let my marriage be about my preferences and desires. Because this is a marriage class too, and I know we're teaching out of this book, but sometimes our marriages, we want our preferences, we like our desires, but even in that, and just like the church, in your marriage, you have to realize that it's not about me, and it's not about you. The Bible, when we get married, it says we're two becoming one. Yes, we raised two different, and that's like, even with the church at Antioch, I see Gordon Chapel, I see the Pilgrim, I see St. John and Portal. I see people from every different church. And I know that we in choir practice sometimes, Sister Bradford, we done had this thing about, oh, we sing it like this, we sing it like this, we gonna sing it like this. Sister Bradford, you know, and when one night I was up directing, I was like, okay, well, you gonna sing it the way I'm directing it, because I'm the director, okay? Because I'm the one up here leading, okay? Yes, we can sing the same song, and every last one of us sing different ways. You can have 20 churches up there, and everybody can sing in a different way. So we have to learn that it's not about us, it's about what's the betterment, what's better for the ministry. Because my way could be good, but somebody else's way could be better. Okay, so it doesn't say not our preferences and desires. You know, the first part when they said about the music, when it was under the survey, it said about the worship world. I thought about Antioch, how we always said the music too loud, you can't hear. And I just started laughing. I was like, Lord, okay, we deal with this. Worship wars, you know, we wanted to change the order. We don't like the way the hymn choir sing on first Sunday. Why are they singing? Oh, the children need to be. I mean, it has been, I've been in Antioch, I think 15 to 16 years. And I've heard the different things about the music ministry. We all complain, but here's what I say. You complaining, but you're not up there. And I tell my husband, he'll tell you all the time about that male chorus. I say, I don't want to hear it. Because you're not up there. You complaining, but you're not up there. So until you get up there and try to make a difference, don't complain. I'm just straight up. Y'all know I just tell the truth. So if we're complaining, but none of us, we won't sing in the choir, because we don't like this one, we don't like the major, we don't like this, we don't like that. I mean, that's what we do. We have beautiful voices, we can sing, but we allow one person to keep us out the choir because of our preference. I don't like that, and I don't. Okay, so but we as a church member, I often say that you can make the difference. It just takes one. We heard the preacher talk about one this morning. It takes one. One vote, you can win. One. Okay? And then sometimes you have to stand alone. That's what the Lord said. Sometimes you have to stand by yourself. And you know you're not by yourself. You always got Christ with you. So that's two. So we have to learn that it's not about us. Even in our marriages. It's not women. It's not about you. It's not about us. I know that. I know he not talking. You know, I know they say a happy wife, a happy home. But it should be a happy couple, make a happy home. Because some days it's going to be my preferences, some days it's going to be your preferences. And if we're praying about it, God is going to show us which way to go. Okay? So even at that, it's our job to help meet the needs of each other and to meet the needs of the church. You know, and I know Antioch has a lot going on. We have so much going on. But you have to learn that only what you do for Christ is going to last. I don't do it. People say, you at that church, you do a lot. But one thing I need you to know, I don't do it for Adolf. I don't do it for Mabel's. I don't do it for anybody at this church. I do it because of the cause of Christ. Yeah. I could have stayed home this morning in my bed, but I do it because of the cause of Christ. He said all things, give praise. I might not feel well, but I pray for them right now. Okay, sometimes you have to sacrifice. It's a sacrificial thing if you're going to be a church member.
Yes.
If you're going to be a servant. I always tell people I'm just a servant. I serve. One day Pastor seen me, I was serving in the kitchen. Next time for leadership, I was out here 10 o'clock at night helping serve the guests. He's like, Ladentia, I'm just a servant. Wherever I'm needed, whether I feel good or not, I'll do it. If you ask me, I'll do it. If I'm available, I will do it. We have to know that we're serving. On yesterday, Sister Lily came out to our school and helped pray with Brother Mike and myself and our principal, Miss Cheatham. Lily was hurt. Mike told me, but she pressed away and all that rain and all that as a servant. Sometimes we just got to do things other than that. On my way home yesterday, I called Mike. I told him, on my way home, I seen some people walking in the rain. It was pouring down. And the Lord said, stop and pick them up.